Hello and welcome back to Scoutabout YouTube channel. Again today we're doing a bit of exploring of campsites. In particular we're doing it in virtual reality because we can't go in real life at the moment, and the idea is just to have a bit of fun exploring it from a bird's eye point of view, and then maybe a few street views as well if we can get that. So without further ado, I'll go to the VR view and we'll see what we can find. So at the moment I'm picking up where I left off at the old Middlewood site because it's the start of the old Google images. So I'll go on saved because I've got a few saved, and people recognise Waltham Abbey as a place. They will know exactly where we are. So let me just get my bearings ever so slightly. Let's see if there's a street view for here. Gilwell Lane. So there we go. Welcome to Gilwell Park. Again, I've just kind of gone a bit further. In fact, it goes quite far up, the view. I'll try and not be too skippy. It might make people feel a bit nauseous, let's say. So that's not loaded in properly, so we'll keep going. Failed to load next photo, that's good to know. Okay, so I'll try and keep relatively still. Many people recognise this view up to Gilwell Park. When I've come, a lot of times I've actually come via public transport, which isn't the easiest thing to do because Chingford's the closest station. I think that's as far as we're going to get, so just done relatively recently, because I don't know whether it's 18 months, a couple of years, but I've seen it there within the last few years. There was no big sort of axe in the log, which is sort of the famous Gilwell logo. You'll see it all over the place. That's not currently there. Again, so they don't seem to have gone up this way. That's Scout Adventures building there, and basically quite a lot of the infrastructure, they've gone up this way. So that is the conference centre and the basically headquarters for UK Scouting, where most of the full-time staff work apart from the regional people. I might have got that slightly wrong, so you have to forgive me if I've got that wrong, but again, the signs are super easy to read. Oh, you can see that there. Hotel, conference, event reception, thank you for visiting. So here is the main entrance for the... they must have turned around there, I imagine. For the hotel, conference centre, etc. And the famous original White House at Gilwell. Not quite as old as the American one, but it's really well known. And yeah, it's really well known. Inside there they've got a bar facility and a few other things, and a library. Obviously rooms you can stay in various points in the year. I'm lucky enough to have been able to stay in there myself. You can see the Fleur-de-Lis logo there. They don't use the front entrance really anymore. But yeah, and then if I can go over here, fascinating how far it's letting me go on Street View. Not much further, I think. I think it turned around after that. So we'll see if it'll let me go up that way. Oh, it does. It's been done at different times of the year because the photos are different. But this is the Fleur-de-Lis flower bed. In fact, that is as far as it'll let me go. So let's go back. In fact, let's go out of Street View. So this is actually the bird's eye view now of Gilwell Park, and it's phenomenal how they've rendered the pictures. Don't know what software or whatever they use. Obviously it's Google. It's pretty impressive. So we'll just fly up a little bit, get a better view. See the car park there. Many people have been to Gilwell for the reunion or will recognise camping on these fields. There's one of the quite well-known toilet blocks. Nothing particularly amazing about that, but even down to the detail of a van and hike tents and a marquee type tent. This is obviously after some sort of event when these were taken. We'll move down here. car and caravans and things like that. Might even been just before people setting up. And then there's a lot of these buildings that are used for people staying and conferences and things like that. Again, I've no idea about the names of these. I've got to Gilwell occasionally, but not particularly often. Some of the more permanent marquees. And then you've got one of the big fields here. With actual houses and things close by. Again, this is probably all part of Gilwell, and I cannot for the life remember what any of it is. You probably go into private properties at some part there. And yeah, so you've got the toilet blocks. Kind of zoom out a bit to get a bit more clarity of where's where. As you can see, it's on a bit of a hill. Well, I can see it in 3D at least. But so behind the White House is an area a lot of people will recognise. You've got a lot of the multi-faith centres and areas. You've got possibly that one. I'm not too sure which one it is. This one, that one was the tree of the year. Quite a famous old tree. Again, can't remember the exact story behind it, but yes, so you've got all behind there. You've got the, in fact, you can see the Promise Path there. I think it's called the Promise Path, where you can you can pay some money and donate some money. You'll get a brick, and you can have it dedicated to people, whether that's people you knew in scouting, etc. Now on to more of the site that I do recognise. Many people see this sort of big hall here. And that's the bomb hole, which is the pond per se you can do water activities on, and next to it is the high ropes and the G-swing, again surprisingly well rendered in 3D considering what was there. Okay, so this area is it called the Lid? I can't quite remember. Again, people will probably correct me. That's Scout Adventures, but yeah, massive indoor space for all sorts of activities and rooms next door. Big marquee set up for something, plenty of events going on here, and obviously all the Boweries around the back. You've got the toilet block there, you've got the famous clock tower, and the Providor shops. Again, not phenomenally rendered, but in fact there is a 360 photo, so someone's been up here at some point. But yeah, it's a bit weird. It kind of feels like I'm in Gilwell. Which is quite cool. Obviously not as busy as it has been the last time I was there, which was for a reunion. Yes, we've got the post box, big clock tower, and up there, as you can see some scouts there, or guides, I dare say, and it does go surprisingly far up this. That went a bit closer, I didn't realise the picture, so this is inside that building, which I've not been in. That building will have some sort of name on it. It's probably about history of scouting. Let's just exit that. It'll tell me on my left controller. So people will recognise the climbing tower. And then up this road you've got the big marquee, which is used for events. A smaller marquee in works. This looks like just after or just before reunion based on where all these tents are. Again, not an expert, so could be some other time of year. And you've got a couple of these fields, but it's cracking. You can see all these camps that I've been on, different types of tents on the huge fields, patrol tents, you name it. And then you've got a swimming pool here, which I can't remember if that's in service or not, but you can see it obviously on maps. You've got a shooting type of area here, whether that's archery or air rifle shooting. Again, another field. And if I can find it, there is when I come in through the woods there, and the bus basically drops off down there, not far off the reservoir. There it is. That's the pedal go-karting track. Again, not too sure if that's currently in use, but it probably is. Many people recognise these types of tents, small hiking tents, and then the old school tents, which are still really good to use. And then many people will recognise this hill where you get amazing sunsets over... in fact, the sun's there. I don't know if you can change what time of day it is on here. I might be able to do that. Don't think I can. Let's leave that. Be cool if I could. Well, I can actually, so I can drag the sun. And many people will remember I've had some really nice sunsets. I've been on here a few times. In fact, I'll just pretend I'm sitting on it. And yeah, some amazing sunsets. You can sit there, and then obviously then the stars come out and you get some amazing stars. I don't know what time of year this is set for, whether it's set for today's date, but it's cool. It gives you an idea what stars there were. But yeah, amazing sunset. So yeah, that's a quick view of Gilwell Park.